you.
Good morning, everyone. Just a quick housekeeping things before we get started. We will be using a production COD environment for the hands-on portions of this. So if you're sharing computers with someone who is not with your same school, we don't want you guys cross-sharing PII data across things. So you may want to either check to see if there's another open computer, or maybe try to avoid looking up student data so that people don't see your school's data. You will need your login, your COD login username and password, and your token to be able to get into the COD region. If you didn't bring your token, we do have instructions in the slides on how to get a temporary one, and you'll see those before we do our first hands-on activity. So, oh, I think we can get started. So welcome to day one-ish of the FSA conference in Reno. Snow in Reno, who knew? Glad to see everybody made it safely. Hopefully your luggage came with you. I'm sure that that's not true of everybody, but I'm glad everyone could attend. My name is Jennifer Pattison. I am with the Direct Loans Division at FSA and also part of the Next Generation FSA team in Washington, D.C. This is my colleague, Christina Rodriguez. She is the manager of the COD Customer Service Center. And we're going to get started with the COD hands-on session and get to learn about COD today. So let's get started. We're going to go through some various different searches, some person menu searches. We're going to show you how to search for master promissory notes, counselings, plus applications. We're going to show you how to do some individual person searches. We're going to show you different COD school data searches and some funding and closeout pages. We're going to show you the batch menu, the anticipated disbursement queue, which you hopefully have all seen at least. We're going to show you how to do some research on batches and edit code rejects, and we're going to show you how to access some reports. So we're going to start out with the person menu, and in the person menu, there's multiple different searches that you can do. You can search for things where you can get multiple results, like counseling sessions, MPNs, and plus applications, or you can search for single results, like a person, a credit check, an applicant search, which is an abbreviated ISIR data. There's also some servicer information, and there's a default search on those pages, and we'll show you a little bit more on those. Oh, you can move on. I'm going to show you the counseling search page. This page you can search by either SSN, and you can do multiple searches up to 10 SSNs at a time. Or you can do a search by your school code and a date range up to 7 days, or the counseling type too. You can also export those search results into a CSV so that you can print it out and put it into a happy little Excel file if you want to use it for later research, kind of like building your own little reports in the system. You can also search for master promissory notes. You can search by SSN. You can search by MPN ID. Or you can also do a school date range search similar to the counseling, and that is a date range search up to 90 days. Again, you can export those search results into a CSV file. One of the things that we added to this screen last year was displaying the MPN expiration date, and one thing that I want to mention to everybody, especially for you guys because you use the MPN as a single year, this is the 10-year master promissory note expiration date. So when you see that date, it's probably not going to be applicable to your schools. So I just wanted to point that out to you so you don't get confused that even though we have it there, it may not be super beneficial for your schools. There's also the plus application search. You can search by the plus application ID, which we send to you in the system generated responses. You can search by a combination of either the borrower, whether it be the parent or the graduate student SSN and last name combination minimally, or first name. You can do the student SSN and last name and or first name if it is a parent plus. Or you can also, again, do a date range school search. Then that one's also up to 7 days. You can also export those search results into a CSV file. And again, you can have a happy little report. we also have other individual records that you can search for. This is the applicant search page. You can search by SSN and or award year. You can search for all award years or an individual award year. Like I said, this is an abbreviated applicant file, so it is information that came to you from the ISIR, but it's kind of in a short abbreviated form, so you can see some important information. The name, date of birth, SSN, which are usually really important when you're researching rejects. The names that are on there, whether or not it was a new or renewal application, the date it was completed, et cetera. You're only going to be able to view applications that your school code was listed on when they completed the FAFSA. So sometimes the Department of Ed people have more access than you guys do, but you will be able to see it if your school code was listed on it. There's also individual person searches that you can do. You can do an SSN search. You can search by name, last name, and at least the first 2 characters of first name. You can't just search by last name. That'll bring back a person information screen that will give you that person's information. It'll give you a current SSN, a previous SSN if there was one on file within COD, their address information, and some high-level information about the person themselves. From the person page, once you've located your student, you can also view the award data for that person. You can either click on the All Awards link that I have highlighted on the left, or if you're searching for just their direct loan awards, which might be easier for you guys, you can click on the direct loan link too, also on the left. If you click on the All Awards tab, that'll take you to this page, and it will give you a high-level summary of the total awards they have broken down by award type. Again, for you guys, it's just going to be direct loans, but there's the total award amount and the total disbursement amount. You'll notice that the program types are highlighted in blue. Those are hyperlinks. So if you click on any one of those, so if you click on where it says direct loan, that'll take you to the direct loan information about this person. It'll show you all of the direct loans this person has on file, and it is searchable by award years or all award years. If you want to dive into more information about this individual award, the award ID you'll also notice is blue. That's also a hyperlink. So if you click on that award ID, that will take you to an award detail information page. And that'll deep dive a little bit more into the award amount approved, the dispersed amount, all of those fun grade level, loan period dates, and all that fun stuff associated with the award that's accepted on file. It also lists whether or not there's an MPN linked to that award, and you can see the award ID that it's linked to there, or the MPN ID that it's linked to, sorry. From this page, you can also view disbursement information. If you'll notice on the left-hand side, there's a link that says disbursements, and if you click on that page, then you can deep dive into the disbursement data for this individual award. It'll list all of the disbursements that are applicable to this award. It'll give you the disbursement dates, whether they're actual disbursements or pending disbursements or anticipated disbursements. It'll show the gross, net, all of that fun stuff. It'll also give you a lot of the published program lengths, credential levels. You'll see in the status to the far right, if it's dispersed, that means that it's an actual disbursement and it was funded. If it says pending, that means that it's an anticipated disbursement and it's not yet funded. There's also a credit check search screen if you want to see if a person has a credit check on file and see what the status of it is, whether it was accepted or declined. If you click on the credit check link on the left-hand side, it'll take you to this page, or from the person page, it'll take you directly there, or if you just click on the credit check screen and do the search, you have to enter the SSN and date of birth. You can also perform a credit check from this screen depending on what access level you have. If you request a new credit check, there's also a link that I have highlighted on the screen that you can print out a credit check request form. So if you need them to give you approval, you can print out this form and have them sign it so that you know. If they've completed the MPN itself actually gives us permission to run the credit check for the Plus Awards. But this is another one if they haven't quite gotten to that stage yet and you just want to run the credit check first before they pursue it. you can print out the authorization form from this page too. And this will let you know whether the decision was accepted or declined, and if it was overridden, it will give you an override date too. So there's also a borrower servicer information page, so if you want to know what servicer is servicing that individual loan for the student, in case you have to send your student somewhere to resolve a problem they're having with their servicer, you can check this screen and it'll list all of the awards that this person has, and it'll also tell you the name of the servicer that's currently servicing the loan, or if the loan got transferred to a different servicer, it'll show you the original servicer and the new servicer of the loan. So this comes in handy sometimes. And there's also one of our newer screens in the last couple of years, you can do a default status check on the student. Now this is very important that the search has to be the exact SSN, last name, and date of birth combination. If you do the search with a different last name, it may come up with a different result. So if you know that somebody has filled out a PLUS application and we did a default check, or you checked under one SSN last name combination and you know they might have a different last name, you can use this page to do a search by that combination to make sure that there isn't a different result. We're pulling this information from NSLDS, so yes, you can get the same information from NSLDS, but if you're already on the COD website, it saves you jumping to a different website, so it saves you a little bit of time. And now we're going to start our first practice. We're going to have you guys all log into the COD website. We're going to have you search for your school's promissory notes, counseling, or PLUS applications, your choice, one or all. And using one of your students' SSNs, we're going to have you look up that person and look at any of the specific information to them to make sure that you know how to navigate all of those screens that we just learned about. And we're going to have you search for a student's loan and try to find one with an actual disbursement and note what that disbursement date is. And as I mentioned earlier, if you forgot your token, I have instructions here on how you can get a temporary token to use to log in. It will just pop the token right up on the screen so that you can use it for the rest of the session. I'll leave this up for a few minutes so that you guys can get in, and then I can flip back to the other screen with the actual activities in case you forgot what they were. But we're gonna release your computers and let you go. I have a couple helpers in the aisle in case you guys have any questions or problems. Raise your hands and someone or one of us will be around to help. I see we have questions already.
Hi, everybody. It's come to our attention that several people don't have their COD access yet, and that's fine. If you pull up COD, which is the icon on your desktop, at the bottom of the page, there's a black bar with some links. You can click through those links. There's a lot of information in there. There's edit code information. There's frequently asked questions. At least it's something to click through while we're going through the exercises on the screen. Obviously, you won't be able to log in and follow along with the actual steps that we've laid out, but it should still be beneficial and allow you to participate in some way. Does that make sense? Sweet. But I will
Okay.
pull this back.
And I do have it on a list to try to get a test region for us to do this so that we don't need it for the future. So hopefully next year, maybe we can pull that off.
Okay, everybody, we're going to continue on with some of the presentation part. I'll talk for a couple minutes, and then we'll flip it back over and let you guys have some more hands-on time, and we'll come over and help some more. I'm going to walk you through the school menu. So, the blue bar at the top of the screen, we have school highlighted. This gives you a summary view of your school. So it shows you who your financial aid administrator contact information is, some high-level funding information, and then I'm going to go ahead and walk you down the left side of that school information menu, and we're going to just touch on a couple of those links. So the first one is the options screen. So this is a great screen to use. This screen, what you enter in here is what your students see on studentloans.gov. So for example, on the screen we have here, participate in electronic Parent Plus application is set to yes, and then there's actually a date range listed under there. So what that means is if one of your students went to the studentloans.gov website on 7/9/2017, they would not be able to apply for a Parent Plus loan for your school because in this case, the date is set to 7/10/2017. So you have the ability to control when you want your students to be able to apply for the Plus applications on student loans. Moving on down that left side, we're going to talk a little bit about funding information. So in this case, we're looking at this school's funding information. We have the initial CFL, which is current funding level, then the current funding level, and below that is the previous, and then it tells you the adjustment. So this is a great screen to come to see how much money you had when the last time an adjustment was made. It does give you the date and time, and then it does tell you your available balance. And I'm going to walk through these next 3 lines: available balance, cash greater than net accepted and posted disbursements, and net accepted and posted disbursements, because I'm going to be honest with you, this was confusing to me, so I'm going to go ahead and break it down for you and hope that it makes sense. So in this case, the school has an available balance of $46,530. Their cash greater than net accepted and posted disbursements is negative $46,530. And the line right below that is net accepted and posted disbursements, $46,530. What this is saying is this school sent in $46,530 in disbursements. They have not pulled that money down from G5. So that being in a negative means we owe you money. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. Next one is the balance confirmation screen, which is on the left, and then reopen extended processing, which is on the right. So once you're done processing for the year and you've reconciled and everything is at a 0 balance, because it always is, right? And you decide that you're done processing for the year, you can go to this screen on the left, the balance confirmation page, make sure all the information is accurate. You can see that the ending cash balance is 0, which is what we're looking for. And then you can go down in the bottom half of the screen and go ahead and confirm that you agree that you are at a 0 and you agree that you're done processing for the year. And you just click the submit button and you're on your way. The next screen on the right-hand side, which is 2 links down on the left, maybe you thought you were all done processing and you've gone and you've done your balance confirmation and you said, I'm all done processing, and then realized, oh man, there's one more student I forgot to adjust. You have to reopen the award year, and this screen makes it able for you to do it right online. You don't need to call. You can just fill this out. You put in your reason why you need to reopen the year so you can make another adjustment, and click submit, and an email shoots off to, not Jen, but one of Jen's coworkers. And they'll go ahead and they'll review the reason, and then they will reopen the award year for a short period of time for you. You'll get an email, and then you can go make your adjustments and then re-close out on the balance confirmation screen. Make sense? Okay, great. Oh, and we're back to a practice time. That was a short one. So for this one, we're going to have you search for your school. We'd like you to look at your options. I think this is a underutilized screen. I think it's super helpful for schools, so I think you should go check that out, see what your options are set at today. You may not even know. If you are logged in and you are sitting with somebody from your school and you want to change those options right here on the fly, you can do that. We're here to help you. And then, once you've looked at that, go look at your funding. See if you are in the situation of the school that we looked at, and maybe we owe you money and you don't know that yet. So we'll find that out together. Any questions before I turn the screens back over to you all? Okay, cool.
Okay, everybody, we're going to get started again, so we're going to be turning you back off so we can come back to present a little bit more, and we'll have another practice session for you, so we'll let you loose again in a little while. Okay, now we learned about people, we're going to learn about batches. We're going to show you the batch search screen and how you can search for batches of records for your school. We're going to teach you a little bit about the anticipated disbursement queue, which you may or may not have been using, but is definitely a good tool to use. And we're also going to talk a little bit about report requests. This is the batch search screen, and this is where you can either search for, I think if we go to the next slide, there are 3 individual searches from this screen. You can search for your batches by a date range. You have your school and a date range. There's also, you can search by document ID, or you can search by an individual SSN and award year. You can't combine all 3 of them. They're 3 individual searches, so you have to search by one of those 3. For the students and the school date range batch search, you can pick either 1 year, multiple years, all years by clicking on those little boxes in the drop-down. Once you've done a search, this is your search results screen. This is going to give you a list of the batches that were received during whichever time period you did your search by. You'll notice that the document IDs are blue, and those are also hyperlinks, so we can see more information about that particular batch. From this screen, you can see the record type, which will tell you if it was DL, which for you guys, that's all it's going to be. Or if it happens to be a system-generated response, the type of system-generated response. I have a list of all the different document types and what they mean, if in case you see them on the right-hand side there. You'll also see the date that it was received, the date that the response was sent. So once in a great while, it doesn't happen all the time, a batch might get a little slow processing, so maybe we received it today, you didn't get your response till tomorrow. Shouldn't happen very often. Most of the time those dates are the same, but once in a while, in case there's a batch, there's no response date showing there, you might want to call customer service and find out why. There's also a status of whether or not the batch itself was accepted or if it rejected for some reason. And you can also see a quick status of all of the students in that batch that were accepted or rejected, the awards in that batch that were accepted or rejected, and the disbursements in that batch that were accepted or rejected. So if you see something with a lot of stuff in that R column, you might want to deep dive a little bit more into it. And like I said, if you click on that doc ID, it'll take you to the next screen. The top part of the page is going to give you a summary of your batch detail information. It's going to show you things like your school name, the schema version that it was sent in. You can filter this by program type, which again is probably not super beneficial for you guys because you only have one, but you can see the total awards and the dollar amount of those awards, the total disbursement and the dollar amount of the disbursements. One thing to keep in mind with the disbursements and the total amounts is that we do replacement amounts for adjustments, so this is the total amount that was actually in the batch, not adjusted for those adjustments. So if you had a 4,000, you changed it to 2, it's just going to calculate that 2,000, not the negatives. So sometimes it gets a little confusing for people when they're looking at it. You're going to see the total rejects and the dollar amount of those rejects, which can be very important to you, and a total number of duplicates, if there happen to be any in the batch, and the dollar amount of those duplicates. Here's some more information at the bottom of that screen. You can see where I talked about the number of disbursements and the amount rejected. In this particular example, there were 66 disbursement records in this batch that rejected for edit 996. And that was $116,900 worth of disbursements. Kind of an important thing that you might want to go do some research on and fix, because that's a lot of money that you're not getting paid for because they're rejected. So that's definitely a quick way to say, maybe I need to look into these records a little bit more. If you continue down farther on this page, you can look at the individual records that were in that batch. You can filter those records by the individual social security number of the student, the name of the student, the status of the record, whether or not it was accepted or rejected, the award type, which again is just going to be direct loans for you guys. The disbursement release indicator, as I mentioned before, is whether or not this is an actual funded disbursement or a pending anticipated disbursement. So if it says true, it's an actual disbursement. If it says false, that's a pending disbursement. And you can also filter by the individual edit code. So if you just want to focus on fixing one edit at a time, if there's one you know how to fix real quick, filter those down, get them all worked out. On the record errors screen, you can see in the award and disbursement number column, you'll see that there's either words accepted or rejected. If you see rejected in there and you want to get more details about that, you can do that two ways. You can either click on the word rejected, and you will see on the right-hand side the information that it'll show you. It'll tell you what the reject number was, the description of the edit, the actual field value that was rejected, and if you have update capabilities, you can actually go in and fix that record right there from online. Or if you just want a quick, I just want to see what this was rejected for, you can click on the edit details, and it'll give you that quick pop-up that just gives you the edit number and the edit description. If you don't know what to do with the edit, we also have some help tools on COD Web. If you click on the black bar on the bottom of the screen and click on help, we have all of the edit codes listed on here. So you can click into the edit comment codes. You'll see that they're all broken down by the different types of edits. There's award edits, award information edits, disbursement edits, document edits, etc. If you click on any one of those links, then it will bring up, this is just a small snippet of information. I wanted to know about edit 117 because I don't know what it means to me. It will pull up a little snippet that tells you what the message is. It'll tell you the different conditions that will trigger it and some information on how to fix that edit. All of this information is also in the COD technical reference, but you're already on the COD web, so you might as well just go here and look and not have to go to a whole nother website to look for it. Or you can use the technical reference. It's a great tool too. You can access this whether you're logged into COD or not. So if it's something else you want to look at or you want to have someone else go look up for you really quick that doesn't have a login, they don't need to log into COD to access this. So it's a handy little tool to use. And we're going to be back to another practice time. Okay. We're going to have you go to the batch menu and conduct a date range search for your school's batches. We're going to find a batch with rejected data and try to filter by edit type or actual disbursement. If you don't have any rejects, it's okay. It's a good thing. But for practice, we just want you to be able to look to see if you have any. We want you to take a look at the dollar amount of those rejects and take a look at some of the descriptions of those edits. And again, if you have no rejected data, you can give yourself a round of applause. But you can identify the number of the records in the batch and the actual disbursement amounts just to give yourself some knowledge on how to search through the pages. So we're going to give you a couple minutes to play around with these screens, and we'll let you go.
Okay, everybody, sorry that was a quick one, but we are running out of time, so we just want to make sure we get through the rest of the content, and then we're happy to come back down and help you guys some more. I am going to talk about the anticipated disbursement queue, and as Jen mentioned, you may or may not be aware of the anticipated disbursement queue, but we're going to talk all about it. So if you weren't aware, actually might be nerdy, but it's a pretty super cool tool that we have. So you can search by entity ID, award year, program type, disbursement date range, status, and disbursement amounts. But your first question is probably, what do you use it for? So here we go. So two primary uses. You can conduct a search for past dated records that should have been reduced to 0 or were reduced to 0 and shouldn't have been. So this is a really great way to take a look at a large number of students and kind of just do a double check. I think I zeroed everybody out that should have been. Let me go check. Oh, I missed one. I'm going to fix it. So we're going to show you how that works. The other use is to look at future dated records, and you can go ahead and submit those records right there on the screen if you so chose to do so. So we'll go ahead and walk you through that. So you did a search, you searched for whatever date range you were looking at and, actual disbursement, or I'm sorry, pending disbursements. And here are our results. So we have 6 records, and they all have disbursement amounts on them. So we want to look at these 6 records and figure out what we want to do with them. So from here, maybe I realize that, 3 of those I should have submitted. I meant to do that. I didn't for whatever reason. They slipped through the cracks, but this was my double check. So I'm going to go ahead and pick those 3 records. I'm going to hit continue. And then on the right-hand side is our confirmation. You chose 3 records. Here they are. Do you want to submit these as a batch to COD to be processed? And if you do, you hit the submit button. And voila, we have a batch. So this is a real quick and easy way, especially you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you're reconciling, this would be a really good tool. You think you're close to being done, but you just want to go ahead and double check. I think that would be the most use that I would use for this tool. So we've submitted a batch to COD, and here it's going to show you if they were accepted or rejected. And here we do have a couple warnings. Nothing got rejected, just a couple warnings. And it gives you the information there and your total disbursement amount at the bottom of the page that was the total of your batch. Do you want to skip this practice time? Okay. We're going to skip this practice time. We'll come back to it. Jen just has a couple more slides to go over about reports, and then we'll turn it back to you, and we'll come down and finish our practice times. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, not trying to cut you short there, but we also don't want to keep you all day, so. One other thing I want to talk about are COD reports that are available on the web. There is a COD reporting portal. If you'll notice on the blue bar across the screen, there is a services tab. If you click on that link, you'll see a hyperlink in the middle of the page. If you click on that link, there'll be another page that comes up with another link in the bottom. You'll click on that one, and it'll take you into the reporting portal. Ta-da! From the reporting portal, if you click on the team content link on the left-hand side, and then go to school reports, and then the school report search. Oh, you can go.
School report search.
And there's several different reports that you can view from the web. Not all of the school reports that are sent out to the SAIG mailbox are viewable on the web, but there are quite a few of them that are. This is the list of all of them. I'm not going to read the whole list and bore you, but these are all of the different reports that you guys can view right on the website in a CSV format. This is the school report search screen. You can search by the OPE ID of the school that you want to search for. You can search by the specific report name. the award year of the report, program type, which again, you're not going to use, and then there's a date range. Once you've done that search, you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a list of all of the reports that fell into that criteria. On the far right of that list, there's a link that you can actually use to open that report, and it'll open right up in an Excel so that you can view it. Once you're done looking at that report, if you want to close that out and go back home, in the center of the blue bar at the top, you'll see there's a little drop-down arrow. If you click on that, the last report that you searched for will come up. There's a little X next to it. You can click that to close it, and then you can click the home link on the left-hand side. So we have 2 different practice sessions. We'll give you a few minutes to do before we send you off, although I might just show you the next slide before we go, just so I don't lose all of you. You can do some searches for reports. You can play around with the action queue. The only thing I ask, or the anticipated disbursement queue, sorry, is that you please don't submit any batches in here because that's real life funding I can't undo. So play around with it. Just don't hit the submit button. If you guys get back home and you decide there's more stuff I really want to learn about COD that was interesting and cool, or you have some new people that want to learn about it, there are some training modules that are available on the Federal Student Aid e-training website, and I have the link for that here. There's some instructions on how to get to those, and there's also the COD technical reference, which I mentioned earlier, that also has a ton of useful information, and I have a link to that here. We just posted the new one for 1920 on Tuesday, I believe, or sorry, 2021, time flies, on Tuesday, so you might want to check that out if you haven't yet. So if you have any more questions when you get home, this is my information. This PowerPoint's available on the FSA website for the conference website or within the app, I believe. But this is my information. If you have any more questions, I'm going to release you to do the few practice sessions that we have. Before you run out of the room, if you do, I think she has some quick messages. You can release this while I'm talking. Okay. And just make sure that you log out of the website before you leave the room so that nobody else comes in and sneaks into your IDs. But we'll let you play around, and thank you all for coming. I'm glad that you got to learn a lot about COD today, and hopefully it's all useful stuff you can take home with you and have a fun week and safe travels back home if I don't see you in other sessions. You also might want to check out the COD update session, because there is some new stuff coming into COD that you might be interested about, and there are 2 next generation FSA presentations that also have some stuff you might be interested in. So those are other sessions if you have time during the week you might want to check out. So thanks everybody.